Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. Kimmy presented herself as a mattress, so Maurice climbed on and laid down. This is why she feels so guilty that she can no longer mattress for him. Full disclosure, I have heard that the last season of Love and Marriage Huntsville is currently over. I did not know and I do not care. What I have to say applies in season and out of season. Kimmy Scott, or Kimmy Grant, or Kimberly the suspected side piece, had presented herself as a mattress to her then married boyfriend, and now she appears to be residually upset that he constantly wants to lie down, particularly on top of her. That's what you do on a mattress. You lay down. All of this will be alleged, and in my opinion, as per usual, but it will also be majorly supported by what the show has shown and by what Kimmy, Maurice, and Maurice's ex-wife have all disclosed. Walk with me through this assessment of Kimmy the Mattress for a moment, if you don't mind. Kimmy Scott has never given me wife vibes. The title seems misplaced on her, like she doesn't know how to use it, like she doesn't know how to be, like she doesn't know how she's supposed to act as a wife. Not that you're supposed to act a certain way as a wife, but for her, it seems like a caricature of a character she's playing, like she never expected to be a wife, so she hasn't updated from a side chick stance. I don't think Kimmy ever thought she would be married. I can recall a time hearing her say that she never thought she was as attractive as Maurice thought she was. So it seems she had self-esteem issues. And there appears to be, at least in my opinion, a very distinctive way that women with low self-esteem act, especially around men. Let's get into it. I don't know what makes or made Kimmy think that she wasn't an attractive woman. I don't know if it's because maybe she used to be an unattractive woman. Maybe she didn't dress well. Maybe she didn't carry herself well. Maybe she had body image issues. But what is usually the case with women who have low self-esteem, especially in the presence of men, is they usually tend to overcompensate for it. Because they don't usually naturally garner male attention, they often put forth extra effort to acquire or seem deserving of that attention. You might see women with low self-esteem be extra loud, for example. Instead of talking normally, their voice booms across the room like they're begging, "Please see me. Please hear me." Or you might see them dressed very provocatively, very sexually. Their clothing will be tight, or short, or both. It's meant to garner attention that they would not be able to get organically. So they do things that allow them to manufacture that attention. There are other things that women with low self-esteem do, for example, like wear too much makeup or dress inappropriate to their age, either dressing too young or too old. But in this video, I will only touch on the things Kimmy does and why she has set herself up to always be on the hunt for Maurice's acceptance, approval, and attention, as well as any other male around. And as a bonus, I will also relate to you how all this contributes to why Kimmy never really liked Melody, and how you can see that dislike bleed out in the way she talks to and about Melody, as well as how she interacts with Melody, and why she never quite supports her, despite Melody's unwavering support of and for Kimmy. So why doesn't Kimmy like Melody? And what does that have to do with Kimmy mattressing for Maurice? Well, Melody does not have to do the most, or really anything at all, to garner male and female, for that matter, attention. Please note that when I speak of female attention, I am meaning non-sexually. I don't mean other women want to get with Melody, but that they like her, perhaps admire her, and certainly root for and ride for her. For someone like Kimmy, who's had to mattress for attention, not just with Maurice, but likely also with and in other romantic relationships, this provokes a deep-seated, albeit quietly displayed, resentment and envy towards women like Melody. This is why Kimmy often comes across as being anti the wife, but favorable to the husband. Unlike Melody and women like Melody, Kimmy has had to present herself as a sex doll to get, and in the case with her husband, keep, male attention. Kimmy has had to be whatever the man she wants needs. The key word here is had, as in she must. I think, in her opinion, she thought that that was the only way she'd be lucky enough to get a man, especially a husband. And now that she has a husband, I believe she believes that that's what she now needs to do to keep him. She must be and continue to be that sex doll she pretended to be. Kimmy feels, in my opinion, that she must be what the man she wants and now has needs, whatever that is, whether that's a sex doll or a financial asset, like is the case with her husband, and allegedly putting his name on her home, or at a minimum, moving him into her home, or a cancer-fighting sexual pretzel, or even a team player, as is the case with her faux and mandated friendship with Letitia. Kimmy has said out of her own mouth that if not for the familial connection, that Letitia is not someone she would be friends with. Kimmy's friendship with Letitia is her non-sexually mattressing for Marceau and the Scott family. To garner attention and receive acceptance and approval, Kimmy has had to mattress sexually and non-sexually. She does this with Martell also, and often. Notice how Kimmy shows Martell undeserved support. Notice how she supports him in his wrongdoing, no matter what. She does the same with Maurice in his wrongdoing, no matter what. And even when it is flagrant, like when she publicly excused his comment about her rolling over and taking it. This had nothing to do with having your husband's back, like is common for us wives to do. Because even with having your husband's back, you can still call a thing a thing. Having your husband, or anyone's back for that matter, doesn't mean you excuse or allow bad behavior. It doesn't mean you pretend like it doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, when you love someone, you're supposed to tell them the truth, even when it is hard and uncomfortable to do so. That's why the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. That doesn't necessarily just mean go upside their heads. It means you have to do the hard work of parenting, of getting in the trenches and teaching them right from wrong. It is so much easier to just let them do what they want to do, when they want to do it. That requires no parenting, no effort. And it also produces children who behave like they've had no parenting, no effort put into them. She is so busy doing whatever she must to gain his attention, acceptance, and approval that she does not call him on his wrongdoing or bad behavior. She doesn't call him out when he doesn't take her seriously, when he laughs off her comments and complaints, when he doesn't help out around the house or even with his own son, when he leaves her to have a parental meeting with his co-parent, not hers. These are all a part of her job requirements, her mattress parameters, if you will. They are the rules she has set for herself, that she herself has necessitated that she must follow as a self-designated mattress to Maurice. And he knows this too. The jig is up. He knows she is nothing more than his mattress. He didn't make her that. She presented herself to him this way. She made herself his mattress. He's just laying down on it, as he's supposed to. He's using it for its intended purpose. Maurice knows Kimmy was easy to get. He knows she had self-esteem issues. After all, she admitted to us that he thought she was more beautiful than she thought she was. So if she said that to us on national TV, we can very well assume that she admitted the same to him. So he probably knew all along that she had low self-esteem. And he knew then, and certainly knows now, that he is the prize. At least according to the way Kimmy has structured their lives. According to the precedent that Kimmy has set for their lives. And his knowing this, that she had and likely still has low self-esteem, allows him to operate in the way that he continues to. It is why he felt bold enough to move his son and ex-wife and her husband to their city without even consulting his wife, let alone getting her permission to proceed. And do so on her dime, at least in part. Being that it seems like Maurice doesn't actually do much in the way of work, and we saw that Kimmy used to, so we can safely assume that the majority of the money, at least before the money they started to make while taping the show, was hers. So he not only felt emboldened to move his son, ex-wife, and her family to his city without his wife's okay, he also felt fully within his right to do so with her money. Now you tell me what woman with any sense of self, particularly a strong self-esteem, would allow such behavior? Let alone a fully grown, middle-aged black woman. Such a woman would not normally exist. And most men would not try such a dangerous feat of testing a black woman to see if they can get away with the crap Maurice pulled. But Maurice knew who he was playing with. He knew who his wife was, and that she would allow it. So he did what he knew he would be able to do. Meanwhile, she sat on the porch crying, alone, after he told her that he had completely violated her in their marriage. She sat there and cried, alone, because she knew that that was all she was allowed to do. As a middle-aged pick-me, with the pick-me-ism bred from a past and likely current low self-esteem, resulting in a never-ending quest for male attention, acceptance, and approval, at least in my opinion and based on what she has consistently shown on the show, she knew that suffering in silence was all that she was allowed to do. It is what she signed up for. It is the role she auditioned for as Maurice's wife, and ultimately, and I would say unfortunately, she got the part. To get Maurice, it seems like Kimmy had to be his sexual amusement park. I don't believe she was doing that to steal him from his wife, per se. She was doing that because that is likely what she had to do in previous relationships to get and keep the attention of a man. The fact that there was an ex-wife waiting in the wings likely meant nothing to Kimmy. She was probably always used to other women, prettier women, smarter women, more successful women, getting more attention, and thus always, in one way or another, perpetually waiting in the wings. So that wasn't new to her. Neither was the fact that she would have to do what she must, as she was used to doing, and so did again. That's why, in my opinion, there is all this discrepancy about whether or not she was a side piece. The ex-wife knows and has stated with some certainty that Kimmy was a side piece. And I believe ultimately Kimmy knows that she was. But I also believe that, at that time, she wasn't thinking about the wife one way or another. The wife, I believe, was simply one more person, one more woman that she'd have to be louder than, more willing and more permeable than, more sexually available and agreeable than. That's all the wife was. No more, no less. And that's why, despite Kimmy's very adult age, she still dresses like she's on her way to Freaknik. It's because she knows there are other mattresses out there. Younger mattresses, even more permeable mattresses, even more sexually agreeable mattresses that are even more willing than she is. Or at least Maurice might think so. This is why she still commits to sexually pleasing her husband despite fighting for her life. She wants him to see that his current mattress still works. It is still a good mattress. No need to upgrade. Do you remember a time when Kimmy said that it was she who made the rule that she would never go more than a week or so without having sex with her husband? In my opinion, that was done because of the mattress parameters she'd set for herself, so that she wouldn't lose her prize, particularly to another willing mattress. Do you remember a time when, despite working full-time as a nurse, Kimmy said she made it her business to always cook dinner every day for Maurice? Why do you think that is? Yep, you guessed it. It's another mattress parameter she set for herself. And here's the thing. It's perfectly fine to want to cook for your spouse. It's perfectly reasonable that a person would want to take care of their spouse. The problem is, this is not something that is done exclusively by wives. Even wives who believe in full submission to their husbands might know and believe that their husband would cook and do cook sometimes. But for Kimmy, in her situation, it seems like a law, a rule, something she can't not do. That's the difference. Wanting to cook for your spouse is one thing. It should be appreciated when and if it's done. But it shouldn't be a rule or a law. And it should be reciprocated. And not just on those 1 or 2 days a year when you're too sick to do it for yourself. That's the difference. That's what makes this a mattress parameter for Kimmy, our resident mattress. And as I illustrated earlier, Kimmy doesn't just mattress for Maurice. He is the only person she sexually mattresses for. But she has mattress for Marceau, her husband's other brother that looks like he climbed out of the back of a turnip truck, and she regularly mattresses for Martel. Kimmy mattresses when and where she must, and has likely been doing this for a long time. This is why Kimmy gave Melody such a hard time about changing her last name. It is also why, despite her best efforts, she does not like Melody. Melody changing her last name away from her ex-husband's is perplexing to Kimmy. The man is the prize. The husband is the prize. At least, it's always been that way to Kimmy. So, to see a woman so blatantly walk away from such a prized possession as a husband's last name is confounding to Kimmy. But so is Melody. Melody is the antithesis of Kimmy. She is the exact opposite. Unlike Kimmy, Melody has never had to try hard for male attention, or for anyone's attention. She does not have to be loud to be seen. She does not have to dress provocatively to be seen as sexy, or appealing, or attractive. She does not have to ride hard for males to ride hard for her. Just look at how Marceau blindly rides for Melody. He doesn't even seem to want to do it, since it undoubtedly gets him in trouble at home with his wife Letitia. I would even hazard a guess that perhaps he isn't even consciously aware of it. Or maybe he is, since he was cognizant enough to know that it made his wife jealous. But whether conscious or not, or rather whether he wants to or not, his need to ride for Melody is like a pull. Martel knew Melody had this pull on people. That's why he's always accusing her of cheating. He likely thinks that because so many men are always looking at her, she is likely also looking at so many men. It's the classic "I'm cheating, so you must be cheating too" thought process. The thought there is, if it's happening in one direction, it must be happening in the other direction too. Back to men riding for and naturally accepting and approving and giving attention to Melody. It has likely always been the case. And that's ultimately why Martel was so suspicious when Marceau went to comfort or console or check on Melody, back when she and Martel had that blow-up or situation back in the day. Martel had likely seen Marceau show outward signs of approving of and or giving attention to Melody. And men know and see men, which is why girl dads are always so psycho about their daughters. They knew how they were, so they know how other men are. Consequently, and side note, Letitia sees it too. Letitia also sees the attention and approval that her husband Marceau gives to Melody. But that's a video for another day. All this natural and organic acceptance, attention, and approval that Melody gets is why Kimmy does not like Melody, and why she likely never did. Do you remember a very long time ago, I'm talking many seasons ago, when Melody, Kimmy, and Letitia were having a discussion on Melody's porch or somewhere, and Kimmy had called Melody bougie? I knew right then and there that Kimmy was not for Melody. It bewildered me that so many people saw Kimmy as a girl's girl, as a smart and intelligent woman, as a woman who made a lot of sense, and as the level-headed one. I never saw those things. I never saw her as smart and intelligent. I saw her as easy, moldable, and gullible. I never saw her as a girl's girl. I saw her as a silent hater of Melody's, but not exclusive to Melody. I saw her as a silent hater of any woman who was able to effortlessly do what she herself had to spend so much energy trying to do, whether that was attracting male attention or any other endeavor. Kimmy is for Kimmy, and whatever man is in the room. It took a few people a few years to finally get a read on Kimmy, but who and what she was always there. Kimmy was always a small woman, and I'm not talking about in terms of stature. I'm talking about in terms of self and how she perceived herself. Ultimately, I think she could have been a great woman. I think she is a pretty woman, especially when she's not trying to look like a 20-year-old. I think she's naturally pretty without the pounds of makeup and the streetwalker clothing. Clothing, by the way, that she uses to silently compete with any new mattress on the come-up, as she once was. You've got to remember, they are on a national TV show, so there is a lot of attention coming their way. And although I don't see why there would be, there's probably some attention coming MAURICE'S way. So Kimmy is doing what she knows to do. She's trying to keep her man by doing what she did to get her man. Kimmy didn't get Maurice by being prim and proper, by being educated and successful. The fact that she was educated and employed was probably just icing on the cake. Because wasn't Maurice a barber or something? But how she got him was by being willing at the drop of a dime to get on her back whenever and wherever and as often as was requested. This is also why she felt a connection to Martel's mistress and baby mama. This is why the mistress and baby mama resonate with her. Because she was once both. Kimmy was once a mistress, according to her now husband's ex-wife, and she was also a baby mama, as she has a son whose father she was not married to. Kimmy and coleslaw are one and the same. Kimmy is just the advanced version of coleslaw. She is the chicken salad that once started off as coleslaw. With Kimmy, what some saw as level-headed, I saw as a fence-riding, male person pleaser who conformed and morphed into whatever role she needed to get what she wanted. In her audition to be Maurice's wife, she adopted the role of youthful sex kitten. So that's why, when she got sick with cancer, neither she nor Maurice gave her any grace. They both knew what she had signed up for. And being that she still has the self-esteem of a three-legged lizard, she still seems to believe she must perform for love. And the performance she won the part as Maurice's wife for was sexual. So if she wants to keep the role, she must continue to perform sexually. Fighting for your life be darned. Going through menopause, which is a common side effect for women undergoing cancer treatments, be darned. Side note, let me go ahead and not just acknowledge but chase this pink elephant in the room. Even if she wasn't undergoing cancer treatment, menopause was still around the corner for Kimmy, if not already on her doorstep or already sitting at her kitchen table because of her age. Kimmy would like to pretend and dress like she's a young woman, but Kimmy is a middle-aged woman, and menopause, and definitely perimenopause, likely already started before her cancer diagnosis, which is likely why she and Maurice were having disagreements about how much sex to have. Maurice was remembering her auditions for the role as a sex kitten, and meanwhile that kitten's milk had dried up. It happens. The kitty literally begins to dry up during menopause and perimenopause, making sex uncomfortable and at times even potentially painful without lubricant. Not to mention that decrease in estrogen causes the woman to have a low libido, resulting in less interest in sex and trouble having an orgasm. And if Kimmy had met a man that loved her for her and not for her performance and promises to continue performing, then she would have had a partner that sought to be her strength and support while they fought for her life. She would have had a partner who wasn't thinking about sex, and if he was, he would have taken his right hand on a date to the bathroom. But that's not who she married, because she was so happy to get what she could, even if what she could get was an overweight barber who already belonged to another woman. So now this is her life. She's stuck mattressing for a man who sees her as an opening, a blow-up doll with no feelings or emotions outside of pleasing and cooking for him while raising his kid and making them money while allowing them to live in her house as she pays for his degrees, and regularly meeting with his ex-wife to formulate a plan to raise their son. And all she asks is that he hangs up a few pictures around the house. Seems fair, except he doesn't even do that. And that's because mattresses don't get to make requests. They get to lay there and make their owner comfortable. And from where I'm sitting, Maurice is looking mighty comfy. All in all, and in conclusion, Kimmy presented herself as a mattress, so Maurice climbed on and laid down. And now she's feeling guilty that she can no longer mattress for him because both she and he know it is the role she signed up for. And both Kimmy and Maurice know the sex kitten role she signed up for can't be performed by an old cat with allergies. All right, y'all. That's it, and that's all. Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. If you don't, or if you believe in groupthink, or bullying others into believing the popular opinion, then this isn't the place for you. So go ahead and just cancel me now. On this channel, we don't discuss my truth or your truth. We discuss the truth, and no topic is off limits. So, log in, like, subscribe, get comfy, and comment. It's nice to have you here. So let's talk.